evening, everyone, and welcome to round 7 of this SMA GT500 Championship. This week sees the drivers step into the 2016 spec cars for the second half of this 12-week series, where all tiers from this point forward are locked down to compete for honours. It was Levitius who won last week's Tokyo Showdown in the Audi DTM cars to record his 4th win of the season and make it triple back-to-back wins and become the runaway leader at the summit of this championship. It was certainly close and intense, lots of twists and turns throughout the grid in a very challenging and tricky circumstances. But in the end, there was only going to be one winner, and it was the perfect performance from Levitius. Will anyone be able to stop him as we enter the business end of the season? Well, I guess we will find out shortly. But before we do, it's time to introduce our legendary Scotsman back alongside me with his dulcet tones. It is, of course, Hugh Hatrick. Good evening to you, Hugh. And how have you been?
I'm very well, thanks, Sean. It's great to commentate alongside you tonight. And a very warm welcome to our viewers from South Africa and all over the globe. When you say that I have my tartan dulcet tones, if only I was wearing a kilt. If only you had a camera on me, I'm sure you would love to see my kilt. But I'm actually, but there we are, our Scottish heritage there. But yes, thoroughly looking forward to the racing tonight with the new Group 2 cars. Very, very fast, much faster than the 2008 cars. And here at the legendary Suzuka track, very much looking forward to that. So yes, on top form for tonight, definitely, Sean.
Yeah, 100% looking forward to this one, that is for sure. But before we get into the race details, it is important to shout out our sponsors for this season, because without them, none of these races would be possible. So firstly, SMA is sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven for all your high-end sim goodies, your number one place for all your sim racing requirements. The link is actually in the description below, and go onto their website, simulatorcave.com, for all your simulator needs. And please hang around as well in stream. After the race, we're going to have a very special guest, the owner of Simulator Cave himself, JP, with all the opportunities to ask all them difficult questions you've been dying to ask him, myself included. So can't wait for that one. Also sponsored by TGSC Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfing students to reach their full potential. And lastly, proudly associated with MSA Motorsports South Africa, partnered by the FIA, the only place for official leagues in South Africa. So I guess it's time to find out what's in store for round 7 tonight in the second phase of this competition. Hugh, can you run us through tonight's race details, please?
Certainly. Today is round 7 of our 12-week season in the SMA GT500 Championship, and we are back in Japan, but this time we're south of the border to a visit to Suzuka, a legendary track with so much history. Let's give you an idea of what we are facing here tonight. The distance is 5.807 kilometers. It has 17 corners, and of course it is located in Japan. Now, tonight we have a 10-minute qualifying session followed by a 28-lap race, and we've got fuel consumption times 3, and we've got tyre wear times 2. Now this time we can use the medium tyres are required, but you never know, some of the drivers may use the soft tyre as well, although it will degrade a lot quicker. And we have a grid start with a false start check as well. But yes, it's going to be very exciting indeed, and it's going to be really interesting to see what tyres that the drivers choose, and also the fuel consumption rate times 3 will make quite a big difference. And we're using the new Group 2 cars. So we've got the Lexus, the Honda and the Nissan, but they're the 2016 versions. Much faster, much more modern, but I'm sure the drivers are going to have, well, they're going to be filled with lots of detail and lots of challenge as they get to drive these cars. But from this point onwards, we enter the lockdown stages of the tiers and the change of cars, and the drivers, as I said before, will be using the 2016 spec for the respective manufacturers. So, how did the racers fare in the last round at Tokyo, Sean?
Good question indeed. So, moving on to the story, yes, for round 6 at Tokyo saw Levitius record another emphatic victory to claim a triple back-to-back wins and his 4th win of the season, finishing ahead of second place teammate Deacon, who at one point looked like he threw his race into jeopardy once he pitted early for inters on a dry circuit, but somehow managed to save enough tread on the tyres when all looked at sea. In the dying embers of the race, the rain came flooding in and ended up being his saving grace as he kept up his 100% record in finishing on a podium for every race thus far. In third position, it was VSR Richard making it back-to-back podiums with a great fight back. Initially starting the race in 10th position, he climbed up 7 positions to make it on the last step of the podium to come the end of the race. In 4th position and earning his best result of the season, it was VSR Wolfie putting in a fine performance to top up his consistent points tally. And speaking of comebacks, quite possibly the comeback of the season, it was Papaya Racer who grabbed 5th position ahead of a nightmare start, picking up damage and having to make an extra pit stop sent him crashing down to the back of the grid in the early exchanges. But he managed to claw back 9 positions to salvage his race and claim an excellent result. And it was a much better performance from Gallara this time around, with a photo finish at the checkered line and pipping Puma's Mac to the post by finishing in 6th, with Mac having to settle for 7th. And TNR's not so slow, securing his Tier 1 status by grabbing another top 8 position and finishing just in front of Puma the Joker, who was taking his final bow in Tier 1 as he'll be competing in Tier 2 for the rest of the season. He finished just in front of Joubert and VSR Vars Vartavis in a close and intense finish to the line. They finished in 10th and 11th respectfully with just 2 seconds separating P6 to P11 at the end of the race, telling its own story. Further down the grid, we had Puma's Neil finishing in 12th, ahead of demoted drivers of D-Man in 13th and FBR Fricky in 14th, with their Tier 1 journey coming to an end. In steps VSR JDJ, TNR Whipperman and MGR Kennels, who had already secured their Tier 1 status on points standings. And speaking of points, the top 14 standings you see in front of you will be the Tier 1 drivers for the rest of the season, as the tier lockdown is now in full operation. It's Levitius who currently leads the championship after 6 rounds with a 19-point lead over fellow rival and teammate Deacon, who's currently in 2nd position. Then there's a 20-point gap between him and VSR Richard, who is now 3rd, and sandwiched between the 2 TNR drivers, with Papaya Racer occupying 4th position. Returning driver VSR JDJ still riding high in 5th, 5 points ahead of teammate Wolfie, howling his way to 6th position. In 7th and 8th, we have the other VSR drivers in Gallara and Vars, separated by 13 points. Puma Racing Neil is just 3 points behind, occupying 9th, with fellow teammate Mac a further 3 points behind in the top 10. Then just 6 points separating TNR drivers Whipperman, Captain Slow and Latari, aka Joubert, for 11th, 12th and 13th, with MGR Kennels surviving by the skin of his teeth, not for the first time I must say, rounding off our top 14 drivers and Tier 1 for the rest of the season. This is certainly the business end to our championship, and with the new Group 2 cars adding spice to things with different car characteristics, it could shake up the standings with 6 races to go. But best of luck to all the drivers, and over to you, Hugh.
Thanks, Sean. Yes, when we were speaking to Levitius last week, he was saying that perhaps the Nissan might not be the fastest car. So we will see if that is the case, or will he be able to be as competitive as he has been so far with the other drivers in the championship. But certainly looking forward to seeing how they do, and as we get ready to start qualifying, let's see. It's going to be, it's only 10 minutes long. It's not that, you know, maybe get 3 or 4 laps in here at Suzuka. It's going to be very exciting, and I'm sure we're going to see a field that might be slightly different to what we've had before. And then it's going to be 20 laps of flat out all the way as they race round the Suzuka circuit in front of a great crowd and in front of our viewers here from the SMA Championship, who I'm sure are enthralled to see another round of these great drivers giving it their all to compete for victory. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the top 14 drivers are here on merit. They're the fastest 14 drivers currently in SMA, with obviously the points tally that they have. So they're fully deserving of their place in Tier 1. Yeah, welcome to everyone that's in chat at the moment. Welcome to Kennels. Good luck to you, Kennels, and congratulations on securing your Tier 1 position for the rest of this season. As well as Schaefer as well, and we've got rugby, MMA and more. So Schaefer saying let's go JDJ. Yes, JDJ also securing his position, of course, into Tier 1, and actually still looking good in the championship in 5th position. So although he was demoted down to Tier 2 for the last race, he did win that race. So you know, still earned decent points, and hopefully he'll be on his merry way to start pushing up the division and try to get into them podium positions. Yeah, great to see everyone in chat, and Johann Strauss as well. Welcome. It does seem like we've got a lot of JDJ supporters in chat, and also as well, if you missed the start of the broadcast, we've got a very important interview with the proprietor of Simulator Cave, JP, for all your sim racing needs. So if you're in, or you know, perhaps maybe thinking about buying some Fanatec equipment, maybe some Moser gear, maybe a cockpit or something like that, you know, JP is your man to talk to, and I'll be asking all the questions his way, so do look out for that. That'll be coming up after the podium interviews, but yeah, certainly certainly if you've got any questions, do direct them in the chat, and we will post it towards JP, and hopefully he can answer any queries that you have. But yes, we have got this very important race here in the first of the 2016 spec cars at Suzuka, one of my favourite locations on the grid, on the calendar, sorry. And yeah, luckily, Hugh, I've heard that the racing conditions are going to be great. It looks like not a cloud in the sky, and it seems like it's going to stay dry out there. So I think that's music to a lot of the drivers' ears. Don't you agree, Hugh? Oh,
yeah,
as
certainly.
Qualifying starts, but yeah, go on, Hugh, you answer that for me.
Certainly, it's much nicer to have the hot weather and a nice dry track, so they can really use their soft tyres and get the best out of them. See, everyone is on the soft, as far as I can see, on the running so far, to get their qualifying laps to make sure they can get the best time. But yeah, lovely blue skies, just like a Scottish Borders morning. Yeah, but no, it's great to see them out there, and now they have more confidence as well to drive on those soft tyres, and knowing there's not going to be any rain or dampness coming, they can really give it their all. And it's interesting, I've been watching a few of the drivers, and some of them are using a bit of traction control and some of them aren't. So it shows you that even some of the highest skills have a little bit of traction here and there, just to help them in certain cars. But it's going to be interesting who will get a really good time. There's not that many laps they can do, and they've already got started. So we'll keep you informed as to who is going to be on pole position.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I see one of the drivers, TNR Whipperman. I don't know if he normally has traction control on and what the circumstances are. But yes, certainly at Suzuka there are quite a few tricky corners, some sharp hairpins. I mean, this is why I love Suzuka, because it's got a little bit of everything. You've got the technical section where Captain Slow is just driving through now through the S's, and then you've got the sort of medium speed corners, and can be quite scary as we come up to Degner 1 and 2 as well. You don't want to run too wide on the exit there, that is for sure, and you have got a gravel trap awaiting you should you run wide. But then also you got some sharp hairpins like this one coming up now. And then you've got some fast straights and some flat out bends as well. And yeah, certainly it's definitely going to throw quite a number of challenges towards the drivers. So, but at the moment, Levitius is leading the way in the championship by quite a margin. So this is the opportunity now for the drivers to really nail down firstly the lap times in qualifying, but certainly really need to grab as many points as possible now that we're in the tier lockdown. So drivers will be competing for honours. Top three will be winning a prize, which I'm not sure of just yet. I will need to get confirmation from Robin, but I'm pretty sure he's got something great up his sleeve. But yeah, certainly with the 2016 cars as well being very different to the 2008 counterparts, it's definitely going to shake up the league in the second half of this season. I'm very much expecting the Honda NSXs to be very, very strong, possibly meta. So the likes of JDJ, the likes of Gallara and Vars as well, I'm expecting them to be very strong in this second half of the season. But yeah, of course, I'm sure Levitius will have something to say about that. Certainly Deacon as well. Two of the drivers that have been so impressive throughout this season. Particularly Deacon as well, because he hasn't finished outside of a podium so far in this season. And of course, Levitius is leading the championship, so they are the ones to watch. However, we ride on board with JDJ now, who's just about to come across the line with a 1 minute 44.2. That's a very, very good time, actually. 6.5 tenths quicker than Gallara, who is down to P3, sorry, because Vars Varsovis was temporarily up to P2, but Deacon is on pole position now with a 1 minute 44.194, and Wolfie sandwiched between his teammates as well. Although VSR Richard coming across the line now, setting the fastest lap of qualifying with a 1 minute 43.887. The first driver to sink, or the second driver to sink beneath the 144 margin, because Levitius has just set the pole sitting time there of a 1 minute 43.871. So the times are coming in thick and fast, and we're already nearly halfway into this qualifying session, Hugh. But yeah, good banker lap so far though.
Yes, and look how close it is, just 0.016. That's all that's in it between Levitius and VSR Richard, which is next to nothing, and then just 3 tenths down to Deacon. But yes, as you say, almost halfway through, and we're just seeing the lap times come, because really it was their second lap that they were able to get a proper time. They've got to choose a time which is going to be quiet on track, but they've got as much space as possible so they won't get held up. But yes, it's all happening, but Levitius is once again showing that his Nissan is definitely competitive, because he's ahead by a fraction, but showing that his Nissan is performing very, very well here at Suzuka. But it's Deacon once again is on the podium, so he's maintaining that so far, and certainly in the top three. And we just had VSR DDG go into the pits, because they are going through their tyres pretty quickly here with that racing soft tyre, and they've done now they're on to lap 3 with that tyre, and already they're about probably a quarter of the way down on degradation, so they have to really watch that. But who is going to claim pole? Can anyone challenge Levitius? Many of them are now coming in for a new set of tyres, and we'll see what happens next.
Yes, indeed, as I struggle to get on board with a driver that's currently on a fast lap. I think it may well be Captain Slow. That'll be the one of the drivers to set a lap time. He may dive into the pits though, because a lot of the drivers did dive into the pits, and no, he comes around the final. Oh, I thought he was going to come around the final corner, but he didn't. He decided to reset to pits. So, yeah, it looks like probably wise, to be fair. We're 6 minutes in this 10-minute qualifying session. And, yeah, probably very important to have fresh tyres. The one thing I was a little bit surprised with Captain Slow, though, was the fuel burning there. Because of resetting to the pits, it means he's going to have a full tank of fuel, with a lot of these drivers with roughly about 3/4 of a tank now. So he may lose a little bit of time in the dying embers of this qualifying session, but we'll have to wait and see. But currently, at the moment, Levitius is the fastest man on the circuit. He has a 16 1,000th of a second lead over Richard, who currently holds P2, and he's third in the championship as well. So he knows that he really needs to take the fight to Levitius, because he is the closest challenger when it comes to the VSR drivers. So we're expecting a very impressive performance from Richard, and he's certainly doing a fantastic job right now. But yeah, we will try to find somebody that is about to come across the line. So
looking at Levitius, he's just currently about 2/3 of the way round. He's just coming onto the back straight, then it'll be the 130R, and then he will be crossing the line. But he's a little bit off on this lap compared to what he's done, so he looks like he's going to need another lap.
Yeah, he's
slowing down.
Yeah, he's slowing down. Yeah. Which is very wise to do. Richard is just about to start flying now, so we'll see if he can go one better, and certainly the margins are very slim right now. As I mentioned, just 1/100th of a second separating himself and Levitius. Deacon is in the pits, however. Is he going to come back out, or is he settling for third? I do wonder. It seems like he's been stationary for quite a long time, but we have got JDJ on a flying lap as well. So where is he in regard? Okay, so he's actually coming to the end of sector 2 then, so we'll stay on board with JDJ then. I think this will be the last lap for most of the drivers, with just a 30-second cool down at the end of the allotted 10 minutes of qualifying. So JDJ is 2.5 tenths up on his previous best. He's 3.5 tenths down on current pole sitter Levitius, so he could move up a couple of positions here if he gets the Casio triangle right, which he looked pretty tidy through that sector. And he up into P3. How close is that? That is 3/100th of a second separating him and Levitius between 1, 2 and 3 there. So unlucky from JDJ, but very impressive time he's put in, with Wolfie going 2 tenths up on his previous best to remain in P5. Gilara is in P. Oh my God, he had to take evasive action there, and I think that may have ruined his lap there. So yeah, it looks like Gilara sinks down into P7. Kennel's up into P6 though, with Wolfie in P5. And then have we got anyone else? I don't think there's enough time for Captain Slow, and we got Puma Racing Max. So it's Levitius. Yeah, Levitius coming around the final corner now. And he goes purple and remains on pole position, extending that lead over Richard. And it does look like Levitius is going to take pole position in this one, Hugh.
Wow, that was quite a lap, and look how close it is. Next to nothing on the top 3 there. That is very, very close indeed. And really, there's only 3 tenths in it to 4th, whereas Deacon is in 4th place there, but only just under 3 tenths from 1st place. And of course, we've got the grid start with the false start check. So that is going to make things all, well, anything can happen when you have a grid start. So it's fantastic. 3 drivers there on the top 3 steps there for the qualifying, and that is a great result. Look how close that is. A 143.831 for Levitius, and then followed by VSR Richard with a 143.887. I don't think we've had it as close as that in any of our races so far, Sean.
No, we haven't indeed. Yeah, just confirmation of the qualifying times. And yes, as Hugh just mentioned, Levitis with a 1 minute 43.831, just 500th of a second quicker than VSR Richard, who claims a second position. So that'll be the front row with row 2, VSR JDJ setting a 1 minute 43.901. Yes, we are talking about 1.5 hundredth of a second separating Richard and JDJ. We've got Deacon starting from P4 on row 2 with a 1 minute 44.1. Then it's VSR Wolfie in 5th position on the 3rd row, with Kennels next to him with a 1 minute 44.526. On the 4th row, we've got VSR Galara with a 1 minute 44.546 to 100th of a second separating Kennels and Galara, with Vars operating in 8th position next to his teammate Galara with a 1 minute 44.561. So again, 1.5 hundredth of a second separated them. Then we've got Whipperman on the 5th row starting from P9, 1 minute 44.817. Just a 10th up on TNR Captain Slow, who's going to start alongside him in 10th position. Then on the 6th row, we've got Puma Racing Neil in P11 with a 1 minute 45.2, and starting alongside him is his teammate Mac, who grabbed a 1 minute 45.6 and just 5,000th of a second quicker than Gilbert, aka TNR Latari. Yeah, very, very close qualifying session as we await the start of round 7 at Suzuka. And if the times are anything to go by, then it's certainly going to be a very fascinating race, a very close and intense one. And I would love to see who you're cheering on in chat, and who you predict could get the race victory today, or maybe even your top 3. But if you haven't already done so, please do hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button as well if you're new to the channel, and make sure you do hit that bell notification as well, so you don't miss anything in the SMA. But really looking forward to this, Hugh, and I'm sure the anticipation is absolutely building amongst the drivers. We're going to have a grid start ahead of this 28 lap race here at Suzuka, as it looks like we are about to get things underway. So let's when it gives me a chance to do so, just get everything up and then we get underway. So okay. Sorry about that, guys. Right, so as mentioned, VSR Richard and Levitis on the front row. It's Levitis that's going to get us underway as we get 5 lights and away we go. And it's a good start from Levitis then, but Richard, he's going to have the inside line. Levitis is going to have to cut his nose off. JDJ around the outside and in to P2, but I don't know if Richard is... in fact, yeah, he has let JDJ through, so that was an audacious move from JDJ to move up into P2 with Deacon down into P4, VSR Wolfie in P5, Galara P6, Kennels in P7. I think he's lost a position there with Vars Fartavis in P8, Whipperman in P9, Puma Racing Neil in P10. There's a big train of cars with Captain Slow in P11, Puma Racing Mac in P12, and Gilbert in P13. Let's go back on board with Levitis, because he has got JDJ hunting him down right now as we come up into the hairpin then. And there is literally just a car length between the two of them, with VSR Richard closely following behind in 3rd position as well. And it's looking very tight at the moment. One little slip up and I'm sure drivers will take full advantage. But so far so good for the top 5 drivers. I don't see too many movers and shakers up and down the grid. But, Hugh, if you do see anything, do let us know. I may just Oh, actually, we've got JDJ now. JDJ sizing up an opportunity on Levitius as they try to go side by side. Perhaps not the best thing to do through 130R there, but JDJ rejoins the circuit in front of VSR Richard and Deacon as well. I was going to try and look at the replay from JDJ. So this was the start, and this was. I tried to get the proper angle there, so I do apologise there, guys. But yeah, it was a very, very brave move from JDJ, and JDJ putting Levitius under all types of pressure, and JDJ, of course, using that Honda NSX, we do suspect that this car is going to be super, super competitive, and a slight knocking of Levitius's rear bumper there. So I'm not sure if that was a little bit of netcode or not, but certainly, yeah, he's putting all types of pressure to Levitius. And Levitius, I'm sure, is going to defend hard as we come up to the hairpin and take that inside line. JDJ might try the old switcheroo, but Levitius does cover it off for the time being. And yeah, it looks like that is the closest battle we've got on show right now, as it looks like quite a big train of cars with quite a gap actually to Kennels from Vartavis actually, and Puma Racing nil. So the top 8 drivers starting to separate amongst each other as Puma Racing Mac tries to defend from Gilbert. It looks like he's made up 2 positions already on them medium tyres. I think most of the drivers, Captain Slow's had a moment though. He's got front bumper damage, so something has definitely happened. I don't know. Obviously, we've missed the replay now as we've got Puma Racing Mac and Gilbert. Gilbert had the inside line, but Mac holds it around the outside to hold on to his 10th position. But certainly, yes, JDJ is the fastest man on the circuit right now as he tries to get in front of Levitius. Maybe trying to hang it around the outside, and he makes it stick. I think he's made it stick, and that is a fantastic move from JDJ. He is on them softer of the compounds on the race's soft tyres, but what a fantastic move from JDJ. Hangs it around the outside of turn number 1. And I have to say, you have to have balls of steel to pull off that move, that is for sure. But pull it off, he certainly did, and he's now the new race leader on lap number 3, Hugh.
That was fantastic. That was like Eddie Irvine. He did that on his debut in Japan and went round the outside. But when VSR JDG chose that line on lap 1 on the first corner, it looked like he was going to go straight off the track because he was way on the curbs, and it looks like the car was going to be dragged off. But somehow he managed to keep it on the track and keep it second place. But he's done it again. He hung out the outside, and he is now ahead of Levitius, and he's now nearly 6/10 ahead. So can he pull away and make that gap that he needs? Because his tyres are doing well and he's got plenty of fuel. And at the moment, it looks like he's got a little bit of an advantage over Levitius. But then we're just in the very early stages. But what a great move by JDG.
Indeed, and it looks like Deacon has got the advantage over Richard, and Richard actually pulls out of it because yeah, Deacon had the inside line as he came up to 130R. So Richard, I think wisely decided to let him through and not lose too much time to the driver in front. So Deacon now moves up into 3rd position. But yeah, it does look like JDJ is the only one on the soft tyres. So I wonder if you can confirm that, Hugh. But I think most of the drivers have decided to stay on the medium tyres.
Yes, that's correct. I'm looking through them as we speak. Yes. Right down to Captain Slow, he's on the mediums as well in 13th. But yes, JDG is the only one who is on the soft tyre. And it's working pretty well. He's pulling away nicely.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very tight at the minute. VSR Richard is leading the train of 3 VSR drivers in Wolfie and Galava just behind him. So perhaps working as a team to try to put Deacon and Levitius under pressure. Who, you know, let's be honest, it's very, very tight at the moment. We're on lap 4:28, and you're talking about 2 seconds, maybe 2.2 seconds is the gap between the first place to the top 5. So JDJ, of course, the only driver on them soft tyres. He really does need to make that stint work, because currently the gap is only 0.4 of a second, and Levitius looking pretty comfortable, I have to say, firmly in that slipstream as well. Obviously, down the straights, that is where he's going to have the big advantage. In the corners, not so much though. But certainly making it work. And of course, he's in the Nissan GTR, and the Nissan GTR is really performing very, very well, and better than expected, I think. But yeah, he's unfortunately not able to close in appropriately to maybe make a move on JDJ, but he's definitely within a car length away. And as the laps roll on by, JDJ's pace is going to get slower, because them soft tyres are going to be burning to a crisp and screaming for dear life. So yeah, JDJ sooner rather than later really needs to pull out of the bag and try to really pull away from Levitius to make this stint work, as the gap through the S's actually did extend to about 0.7 of a second. Levitius has pulled a 1 second gap to his teammate Deacon, who has still got Richard for close company actually, and Wolfie, his teammate, just behind, 2.5 tenths down, with Galara also not too far behind as well. So and Kennels staying with the train, and Vartavis also within grasp of Kennels in P8. So it's certainly a very hard one to call in the top 8, and I think strategies is going to be all the most important in this race, Hugh.
Yeah, because it's a very quick race. I mean, we're already on lap 5 of 28, and it looks like from JDJ's point of view, he's about a third of his way through his tyres, or just under that. So that's going to be interesting. But what made me think was it's the dirty air. See, look, JDG can maybe avoid some of that problem because he's on his soft tyres, but he's not stuck behind anybody, while all the others, Levitius and the other drivers who are in the groups there, are really going to struggle with that dirty air.
Oh, and just to cut you off there, Hugh, Whipperman up the inside of Mack, and it looked like as well Gilbert trying to go around the outside of Mack and does make it stick, and Puma Racing Mack losing 2 positions in 1 corner there. So yeah, just looking at the tyres, so all on the medium tyres as well. So yeah, it is Gilbert and Mack side by side at the moment. Gilbert is going to be shown the outside line. Mack is going to cut in front of Gilbert as we go into turn number 1, and I think it was the wise decision to let him through, because I definitely wouldn't want to go side by side in what is kind of like a braking zone, isn't it, for turn 1? It's all about trail braking into the turn, and yeah, it takes a very brave man. I know JDJ certainly has shown that he has got balls of steel, but certainly not for everyone. So I think Gilbert is going to play the patient game here and try to stay behind Mack and look for another opportunity to make a move on him. But yeah, certainly a fascinating race between 10th, 11th and 12th, but as Mack and Gilbert start duking it out more and more, that is the opportunity for Whipperman to start pulling away. There is a 31-second gap though between Gilbert and Captain Slow. Still don't know what happened to him, but I think he has made an extra pit stop, so he has fixed that damage, got onto new medium tyres. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy he's got, but Levitius is starting to close that gap back up to JDJ then, as we end lap number 6, coming into the Casio Triangle now, and JDJ is going to show him the outside line. There's going to be no space for Levitius to make the move on him, but as we come across the start-finish line, Levitius is going to be firmly in his slipstream now as we start lap number 7. Levitius is going to have to try and take it around the outside. Can he make it stick? Yes, he does. Gets the overspeed on JDJ and actually didn't have to perform the manoeuvre as we came into turn 1. It was done before we got into turn 1, so it was a good early, great persistence from Levitius to reclaim the race lead, Hugh.
Wow, that was certainly something, but it seemed like I think maybe his tyres, JDG's tyres, are now maybe beginning to struggle because Levitius was able to go through and get that move done, as you say, before turn 1. But it's still pretty close. JDG's not giving up. He's coming round the curves now to the right and under the bridge, and there they go. There's really still just a car length in it, this 4/10. But it's great to see these battles. We love seeing the leads change, and we love seeing lots of overtakes, and that's certainly what we're getting here tonight. So now, can JDJ keep the pressure on? Can he get that lead back, or will Levitius pull away? Certainly Levitius' tyres are pretty decent at the moment, in much better shape than JDJ's, but we'll have to see what happens. But there's still roughly about half a second between first and second.
Indeed, and still a close battle for the fight for third position as well. Wolfie is within 0.3 of a second. He's firmly in that slipstream as we go down the back straight and onto 130R, which is flat out definitely in these Group 2 cars as we come up to the Casio Triangle for the 7th time of asking. And yeah, he's certainly keeping that pressure up to Deacon, who is just 0.4 in front of him. But looking at the tyre situation, it does look like Deacon's tyres are burning a bit quicker than Wolfie. So Wolfie's tyre management actually pretty good here, and if he keeps this tyre management up, perhaps he might be able to go a little bit longer than Deacon on these medium tyres. But yeah, certainly keeping that pressure up, and I'm sure Deacon is feeling it right now. But yeah, certainly the gap between the top 4 drivers still within 2.5 seconds, so very, very close. And again, mistakes can't be afforded between the drivers. One slip up and you're going to be losing a few positions there. But yeah, JDJ certainly still keeping up the pressure, but this is the stage of his stint where you do expect him to start dropping off now, because he's on pretty worn soft tyres. Once you get past that sort of half degradation, that's when the times really start falling off, and you can see that JDJ's got the fastest lap time of the race so far with a 1:45.2, but he's now currently in the 1:46s, so he's starting to lose a fair chunk of time, and the gap is nearly a second now between Levitius and JDJ. And I have to say, Levitius's times have been very, very consistent and very fast on the medium tyres. His fastest lap time, a 1:45.429, just 2.5 tenths slower than JDJ on what is you know, slower tyres, so to speak, Hugh. So really doing a great job here. And yeah, JDJ now is he's going to have to I think well, he's definitely have to use the medium tyres, because that is the mandatory tyre for the race. But certainly he's going to have to make these softs last as long as possible to really keep within the fight of Levitius, because yeah, it seems like on a sort of corner to corner basis now, Levitius is starting to pull away.
Yeah, certainly as well. And the thing is, those drivers who are using the medium tyre, they've roughly got about half a tank of fuel as well, but they've still got plenty of life left in the tyre, so they can really afford to stretch this stint out, and then perhaps we put on the softs for the last number of laps later on, so they can go for a longer stint first of all, perhaps. But it's interesting to see, because JDG's tyres are almost shot, but he's still got half a tank of fuel. So does he fill up and put on those mediums and go for a longer stint, or will he try and short fuel it and do another stint on the soft tyre? We'll have to wait and see. But it's pretty close all the way through. Lots of groups, lots of battles. Wolfie is doing extremely well right behind Deacon, so he's keeping the pressure on. So there's lots of groups that are very, very close, and we're getting battles right the way through.
Indeed, and we're just currently on board with the fight for P3. It looks like they've been battling all race, and Wolfie is not going to give up without a fight. He's within a car length away from Deacon, who... It's going to be interesting to see actually whether or not the drivers are fuel saving a little bit, or trying to save them tyres especially, because I did think that Wolfie would have the overspeed as he goes up the inside, and I think he's made it work there, and yes he does. And I think we're going to have a look on the replay there. So that was a very, very brave move, very, very daring, very well, I don't know what to say. I don't know if it was him just being a little bit later on the brakes, but I think he timed that to perfection and got the move done before we got into the Casio triangle. So Wolfie up into third position ahead of Deacon. And I did say about Wolfie with his tyre wear that you can actually see with the tyre degradation that he's done a much better job than Deacon on his tyre management, with Deacon's medium tyres starting to burn down now, with Galara now. He's going to be putting him under all types of pressure, Hugh.
Yes, look at that. Galara has really has caught right up after that move, and will have to be he's going to be ready to see if he can get another one. But that was a great move though by Wolfie to get into third place. What a fantastic run that was at the chicane. That's the kind of moves that we love to see here on Gran Turismo 7, and we're getting them in the SMA Championship, which is fantastic. But and you can see Wolfie is now catching up with JDJ. There's only half a second in it, so he's wanting to try and make places and see if he can maybe even take the battle to Levitius, who is now 4.5 seconds up the road. But yes, Wolfie is really catching JDG, so we're seeing great battles here at the front of the field, Sean.
Yeah, you can see with JDJ's tyres that they're really falling off a cliff now. So I would suspect that he will dive into the pits as he lets Wolfie through into second position. Then I'm pretty sure he just let him through there. Oh, JDJ stays out. Okay, that's interesting. So that car is going to feel horrible in the, well, depending on what lap he actually decides to dive into the pits. But I can't imagine he's going to get more than about, I don't know, 1 or 2 laps from this stint, I think. But yeah, Deacon, yeah, he's starting to close that gap to JDJ now, because this is where the medium tyres start coming back into the race compared to the soft tyres. So even though Deacon has got quite a bit of wear on their medium tyres, obviously it's nothing compared to JDJ's. So JDJ is going to be struggling through these corners, particularly on the left-hand bends as well. So yeah, this is where JDJ, I don't know if he purposely decided to go on the soft tyres, or maybe forgot to change them from qualifying. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, Deacon up the inside, and Deacon should be able to, well, actually they're side by side as we approach Spoon Curve, but Deacon is going to have that inside line, and he should be able to make this stick, although no, let's JDJ through for the time being, but perhaps looking at the bigger picture and thinking, do you know what, it's only a matter of time before I do make the move on JDJ. But JDJ is going to defend hard on the inside line, and it's going to be up to Deacon to try and find a way past JDJ. He's certainly not going to make it easy for him, but as we come up to the Casio triangle, can Deacon get later on the brakes? It looks like JDJ just comes it off, and that's Galara, I think, that was up the inside of Deacon, who briefly tried one up the inside line as JDJ does come into the pits from P4. So Deacon promoted up into P3, Galara into P4 now, and Vars Vartovis up into P5 with Richard in P6, and then Kennels up into P7. So yeah, big change in the grid as JDJ will be putting in some fuel and changing onto, I think, medium tyres now. And yeah, Captain Slade looks like he is down and out at the moment, because he is still in 13th position with wearing out medium tyres in these 44 seconds adrift on JDJ in 13th position. So we get back on board with the race leader then, and that is Levitius, who has pulled a 4.8 second lead over VSR Wolfie. But Wolfie could be going, I don't know, do you know what, Hugh? I'm not 100% sure, but just looking at Wolfie's tyre wear, I wonder if he is trying the medium soft strategy. I do wonder with this. He goes quite a bit longer on the medium tyres and then does a short stint on the soft tyres. That could be very, very interesting. But Deacon still has third position, but Galara has closed that gap to him to about 4.5 tenths of a second. And there's Vars Vartovis also lurking in the background as well. So it looks like at this stage of the race, looks like Vars Vartovis has got some serious pace right now, and looking to use as much of that slipstream that his teammate in front of him to pull him along. And maybe we could encounter a double overtake in the next lap or two, because Deacon is certainly under serious types of pressure as we come across the start-finish line to start lap 13 of 28. Deacon is going to cover that inside line. Galava's going to switch to the outside, but looks like, oh, he's going to go for the switcheroo, and Galava up the inside for turn 1, and there's a fantastic move as Deacon has to try to defend off Vartavis as well. We are going to come back to the replay very shortly, but I do envisage that maybe Deacon is going to come under serious pressure from Vartavis, and he'll be looking to do the same on Deacon. And actually, we got VSR Richard just behind Vartavis as well, so it looks like Deacon is sinking like a ship, but we're going to stay on board just for the time being. When I get a moment, we're going to have a look at that replay, because what a fantastic move from Galava. Did not see that coming, and but as we always see it in the SMA, this is becoming the normality now, Hugh.
Yes, wonderful, kind of switching from left to right, because it looked like the first move was off, but then he got it on the second right as they came round that corner and managed to get through, which is brilliant. And Deacon is really, I think, beginning to struggle with his tyres, and also he's only got less than a quarter of a tank of fuel, so the pit stops are going to be coming very soon, but can they make it? What have you seen there, Sean?
I think there was, I think there might have been a coming together with Puma Racing Mac and Gilbert, because they were very slow on the hairpin, and it looked like I didn't see the contact, but they were quite deep on the hairpin, so I do wonder whether or not there was a coming together between the two drivers. I have got the other replay saved, which I do want to show off, but yeah, we're going to look on board with Gilbert now, because he's got the slipstream of Puma Racing Mac, who now is going to be shown the outside, and it looks like, well, Gilbert's going to have the outside line now, but he's going to sweep in front of him to move up into 10th position. So, yeah, unfortunately, I can't really report on what happened between them drivers, but let's have a look on board with the move that Galava made, as he's still just in front of Deacon. So I think we've just about got enough time to see exactly what happened here. So here was the move at turn number 1 then, and Deacon tried to defend the inside line, but left the door open on the inside, and there was Galava trying to squeeze through the gap, and squeeze through he did, and move up into P3.
That was a great move. It's fantastic to see the drivers like they're really putting on everything they can to give us a great show. And I mean, it's just the fact that they can see those little gaps just in time and manage to nip through and get into the position in front. But interesting that these guys, if they're going to go longer on the mediums, will those softs last? Because they're going to have to stretch it out, because we noticed that even by lap 10 and 11 with JDG, his tyres are really struggling by that point. So can they hang this strategy out to make sure that they've got enough tyres, especially if they're going to go for the soft? It might be quicker at the start, but they could be absolutely dead in the last few laps of the race. So it's going to be very exciting for sure.
Yes, indeed, and we've definitely got a big battle going on for third position as Levicius dives into the pits from the race lead with 15% of fuel, but Galava is going to defend for his life. Deacon's going to dive into the pits from P4, so it means that Vartavis and Galava go through then up into P2 with Wolfie, as predicted. Looks like he's going to go further on them medium tyres. Yeah, I do suspect that VSR have got a bit of a strategy up their sleeve here. It may well be and evidence from JDJ that maybe they're going to try the medium soft strategy, and maybe Team TNR going for the medium strategy, and then Puma Racing Neil, it looks like he's probably going to do the medium soft strategy as well. So Levitius has been released back on circuit into 6th position on, as I mentioned, the medium strategy. He's got fresh medium tyres then, 2.5 seconds in front of Gilbert, or TNR's Latari. He's also on the mediums, but hasn't made his pit stop so far. Mac also in the same predicament as Latari as they fight for P7. But JDJ JDJ currently in 9th position. Of course, he already made that pit stop quite a few laps ago, so he's got a little bit of wear on them tyres, but I'm sure he's going to be trying to save them tyres as long as possible. But good pace so far from him, though. He's hitting sort of high 1 minute 45s there with VSR Richard. Oh, VSR Richard just in front of Deacon then, and that's going to be very important then. So VSR Richard in front of Deacon for provisionally P10, P11, but could well be P3 and P4 when everyone makes their pit stops. So yeah, very, very important move from VSR Richard. Looks like he may have done it in the pits, but Deacon certainly is not going to let him escape his clutches, and he is certainly going to be fighting for position. But yeah, Deacon of course now on them fresh medium tyres, and you know, I'm sure he will bring the fight to Richard, and he really does need to as well if he's got any chance of challenging Levitius at the top of the championship. So Richard is definitely making his life a bit of a misery right now, as we see Puma Racing Mac coming to the pits with TNR Whipperman as well from P7 and P9 respectively. Looks like Deacon's got the inside line though as we come up into corner number 1, and Deacon does make it stick, move up provisionally into P7 ahead of VSR Richards. So again, a very, very important move done from Deacon, as he, you know, being him in second position in the championship, as I struggle to get my words out there, he really needs to try and climb up the positions to really take that fight to Levitius, because currently right now there is about 11, maybe 12 second gap between Levitius and Deacon, with VSR JDJ sandwiched between the two of them, and then VSR Richard, who is 4 tenths down on him, who is certainly not going to make his life easy. But then we've got Whipperman, who has made his pit stop, comes out on circuit in 9th position. Kennels is now into the top 10 position as well. Captain Slow looks like he'll be coming in at the end of this lap with very low fuel and very worn medium tyres, as we've got Wolfie coming to the pits from the race lead. That means Vars Vartavis will carry on further then, and we'll get one more lap with very low fuel and quite worn tyres, but actually done a really good job on them tyres. So now we need to see where Levitius is, because he's just about to cross the line to start lap number 17. And it looks like, yes, he's certainly got P3 or maybe even P1 once Vars Vartavis and Neil come into the pit. So it looks like once they do come in, Levitius is going to have the race lead, and he's developed a 7.1 second gap to JDJ. So Levitius having an absolute storming race with each of his rivals quite far down the grid, it has to be said. However, what I will say is Wolfie is now on them soft tyres. We do normally predict that the soft tyres are roughly about a second a lap quicker than the mediums, but he is a good what is that, a good probably 9 seconds adrift of Levitius. So and he will need to be consistent, because Levitius is Mr. Consistency, let's be honest, and as evidence of what you can see from the lap delta there, he's currently, well, every lap is pretty much 1 minute 45, so absolutely fantastic consistency from him. Barely a tenth between each lap as well. It's absolutely phenomenal. But JDJ, however, his last lap was a 45.3, which is actually pretty quick, actually. But it's all dependent on how much they save their tyres. As Vars Vartavis comes in from that provisional race lead, he's going to sink like a ship, though, as all the other drivers behind start coming across the start finish line. Neil has decided to go one further then, so I do wonder how much time he's losing there. But Vars Vartavis into the pits now. JDJ is going around the final corner to come across the start finish line now, so he should propel himself above Vars Vartavis, with Wolfie as well just behind as well. Deacon also going past as well, with Galara also just about getting past, I think, and I think Richard may sneak in front as as well. So yeah, it just shows you how tight the field is right now. In fact, Vartavist, sneaks in front of VSR Richard to move into 7th, Richard down to 8th. Whipperman is about 3.5 seconds down the road from him in 9th position. Kennels is not too far behind Whipperman in 10th position, and then a little bit separated with Joubert in P11. Puma Racing Mac actually will be trying to fight with TNR Latari or Joubert for the fight for P11, and then Captain Slow 25 seconds adrift, but he is still ploughing on. That is the main thing. So fair play to Captain Slow after what seems like he had an absolute nightmare start to his race. But what are your thoughts so far, Hugh?
Oh, it's been so exciting to see the drivers, all the different battles and the strategies, because I think these soft tyres may not last till the end of the race. So that's why I think with Levidius choosing another set of mediums, it might just be a little bit easier, and he can push. Plus, he's got plenty of fuel to get him to the end, like the others. But it's going to be very, very close. And we've got Deacon as well and Wolfie. There's not too much in between them. And in fact, Wolfie is now just 1.7 seconds behind JDJ. So it's very close at the moment. And we're just seeing that's Puma Racing. He'll just gone into the pits.
Oh, what a move from Gallara again on Deacon. And it was the latest of the late breakers from Gallara. Sends one down the inside, and we may need to have a look on the replay. Deacon is going to come fighting back, though. He's going to have to go around the outside. He has got the overspeed, though, but it's whether or not... In fact, Deacon makes his thing, although Galara's going to come down the inside and retake that 4th position. But what a fantastic move from Gallara in the first place. And let's have a quick look at the replay then, there was Gallara, and as we went into the Casio triangle, it just looked like he was a little bit braver on the brakes. Deacon left that door open, and there was Gallara taking full advantage. But Gallara moves up into P4, then Deacon is 0.5 of a second down to him in P5, and now he's got Vartavist for company as well. So not only is he trying to keep pace with Gallara, but also he's going to be looking firmly in his mirrors, trying to cover up any angles that Vars will look to exploit. So it's just you can't take your eyes off this action, certainly, Hugh, because when you do blink or take your eyes off of the action, something does happen.
Yeah, my goodness, it was so close there. Great running, but Gallara is on the softs, so I think he's made best use of those soft tyres to try and pull away and to make that move stick. But great racing coming into turn 1 to see he just managed to get that little gap. It looks like it's a bit of a switcheroo, but it's neck and neck. But a wonderful move there from Gallara to get ahead of Deacon. And at the moment, we've got Wolfie in 3rd place. He's only 4.3 seconds up the road. So will Gallara be able to make a dent on that and see how quick if he can get involved in that group 2. And looking, in fact, JDJ is only 0.8 seconds now ahead of Wolfie. So there's a real battle developing there. So it's pretty competitive. Levidius might be 8 seconds up the road, but still anything can happen in these races as the drivers get on towards the final quarter of the race.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we certainly got 2 battles going on for sure. It looked like Deacon had a little bit of a moment through the S's there, though, as he's lost a fair chunk of time to Gallara, who was just in front. And there is Vartavist now, who was looking to sneak one around the outside, coming up to Degner 1 and through to Degner 2, but Deacon, I don't think I've ever seen an overtake through that section, Hugh, but certainly Deacon under immense pressure from Vartavist, and he just won't leave him alone. He is literally like a wasp, really, just looking to attack. And certainly Vartavist is certainly going to at least attempt to get this 5th position away from Deacon. But definitely important note though, as you mentioned, Hugh, a lot of the VSR drivers are on the soft tyres, Vartavist being one of them. So Deacon defending for his life on them medium tyres, but Yeah, I mean, look, you can see the skill of Deacon. He should really not be favourites in this position here, but at the moment it looks like Varsvartovich just can't find a way currently right now as Deacon gets a half a second penalty for cutting track limits. That may be the opportunity now for Varsvartovich to steal that 5th position away from him, Hugh.
My goodness, it's all happening, and at the same time Wolfie's just gone into 2nd place. He got ahead of JDJ. So now he is going to try and close on Levitius, but it's all happening as we see here. Yes, there you go, 2nd and 3rd. Into the first corner.
Yeah, he'd already made the move, yeah. And also as well, Varsvartovich also took the position away from Deacon to move up into 5th as well. So it was all happening at the same time, Hugh. Yeah, couldn't quite get the replay of Wolfie making the move on JDJ. But yeah, this is to be expected though, Hugh, because JDJ is on the medium tyres, Wolfie on the soft tyres. We've got 7 laps remaining though. So again, in sort of maybe the next like 4 or 5 laps, maybe things could change once again, but so far it's looking like Wolfie has got some serious pace right now. His fastest lap time is a 1:44.4, but the actual fastest man on the circuit is VSR Galara with a 1:44.143. So he is pushing to the absolute limit right now, but with 7 laps remaining, will them soft tyres hold up before the end of the race? That is the question, Hugh.
Yes, and I was seeing that because I thought Wolfie might be starting to pull in on Levitius, but Levitius has managed to keep that lead of just over 8 seconds. So it's nip and tuck between 1st and 2nd as they try and close that gap. But Wolfie is pulling away from JDG by 1.5 seconds. But as you say, Galara Brown is not far away. In fact, he's going to really try and bring in that gap, I'm sure. But he's only 2 tenths. Galara Brown's only 2, in fact, less than that. There's a big battle there as they come into turn 1, and it looks like Varsvartovich has gone through, yes, and takes 4th place from Galara Brown. So the places are changing all the time through the field as we come here through at Suzuka, and Galara Brown is trying to get that place back from Varsvartovich. Some great moves there. They're trying for everything, Sean.
Yeah, indeed they are, and similar strategy, but Galara, just looking at his tyre wear right now, seems like not doing quite as a good job as Varsvartovich right now, who has got their fresher soft tyres. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here, but it looks like Galara is fighting tooth for now. He really wants that 4th position away from Varsvartovich. They may be teammates, but, you know, this is about glory. And I think Galara, just perhaps a little bit annoyed. All that hard work he's done on the sort of first few laps on the soft tyres has sort of come to nothing because he's lost that advantage to Varsvartovich. But again, it's been such a great race, such high quality as well in the driving, I mean, obviously I don't wish for any mistakes on any driver's behalf, but that's all it takes. It's that one mistake, and it is definitely all about consistency. But yeah, certainly right now looks like Varsvartovich has the upper hand from Galara. But let's just quickly move up and down the grid then. So Levitius has a 8-second lead from Mr. Wolfie, who currently holds P2 then. He's on them soft tyres, as we know, but this is sort of the stage of the stint where the tyres do start to fall off. With Levitius on them medium tyres, and again he's been super consistent. His previous best actually was on lap number 21 with a 1:44.887, so he is certainly getting quicker as the fuel tank diminishes, but certainly just keeping a steady pace, which seems to be winning the race right now. JDJ is currently in 3rd position. He's on the medium tyres, of course, but yeah, you can see the difference between JDJ and Levitius, even though we know that JDJ has been on these mediums for many more laps than Levitius, but currently lapping in the mid 1:45s as opposed to Levitius in the high 1:44s. But Varsvartovich on them soft tyres, actually doing a really good job on them soft tyres with a previous best lap time of a 1 minute 44.160 on lap number 21, which is just what is it, 1.5 hundredths of a second off of Galara Bryn, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, they're certainly keeping within touch of each other. I think Galara might be just slightly outside of that slipstream range now. Deacon is 2.7 seconds adrift of Galara, but we do need to keep him on board with this one as well, because as the soft tyres start to burn, then the mediums start coming back into the process, and he's only 2.8 seconds behind. So he's certainly still in the hunt for I would say definitely for the top 4 position, maybe even top 3. But it's certainly going to be close. We've got 5 laps remaining of this race at Suzuka. And yeah, just cycling through the grid as well. We've got a 2-second gap between Richard and Whipperman for P7 and 8. And then we've got Kennels 2.2 seconds behind in 9th position. And it looks like Puma Racing Neil making good progress as well in the top 10 position, and actually just 8 tenths behind Kennels, so he may get brought into the fight. But interestingly, Kennels is on the medium tyres, Neil is on the soft tyres, but that front right tyre is diminishing by the second. So yeah, it may be too little too late from Neil, but we'll have to wait and see. Gilbert is 13.2 seconds behind in P11, who is 4 seconds in front of Puma Racing Mac in 12th position. And then Captain Slow, he has reduced that gap. It is down to 22.6 seconds, but I do suspect that it's you know, it's all for nothing really, isn't it? I think you know, providing that Mac doesn't make any catastrophic errors, it does look like that it is to no avail for Captain Slow, and will be in 13th come the end of the race. But yeah, nothing really much to report at the moment. Levitis looks like he's sitting pretty at the top of the leaderboards here, on top of the grid at the moment, and certainly on top of the championship as well. He's definitely going to extend the lead at the top of the championship, and Deacon being his nearest rival as well, he really needs to start climbing up the positions, because he is currently in 6th position and he's going to be losing many points in the championship. So this is definitely playing into Levitis's hands right now. Yes, I did see your comment there, Robin. Don't jinx the drivers. Well, I can't always promise this, but yeah, I mean, you know, to be honest, it looks like the drivers have been performing to their absolute maximum today. It's been very, very impressive to see, and apart from maybe the odd incident here and there, it has been very, very clean as well, and something that I've got to be full of praise with the drivers in the SMA. Some of the cleanest and respectful, the most respectful, should I say, driving that you'll see in many a league. As we got Vars Vartavis hounding down JDJ now to go side by side down the back straight now. So Vars Vartavis up the inside. I think JDJ may let him through. I'm not 100% sure, but JDJ, I don't know, he might hang it around the outside as we go through 130R. But yes, he did try it, but unfortunately wasn't going to make that stick. And Vars Vartavis up into 3rd position, Hugh.
That's a great overtake there by Vars Vartavis, getting onto the podium. It's been a great race so far as we see the drivers make their moves, and now with just 3 laps to go, it's really all to play for. And Vars Vartavis he's managed to get that podium position so far, but can he keep it? Because JDG is only half a second behind, and maybe he will try and see if he can get that back, although he seems to be dropping a little bit further. Probably must be the tyres to be on the Vars Vartavis, who is on the racing soft, but has managed his tyres well, and as they go up through the left-hander, it's definitely Vars Vartavis is continuing to pull away. But what's great is that the podium is different. We've got, yes, Levitis in the lead so far, but Wolf is in 2nd, Vars Vartavis is in 3rd. That's a new podium for us over the last few weeks of the races that we've had so far. So it's great to see some new faces in these positions. But what a race we've had with Gallara, with JDG, with Deacon, who must do something to try and rescue his championship hopes here. But it's still, we've still got a few laps to go, and so far we've had no major incidents, and I'm sure it will be clean. But anything can happen in the championship, so let's see in the last 3 laps what more overtakes will happen.
Well, it looks like the closest battle we've got at the minute is the fight for P9 between Kennels and Puma Racing Neil then. So Neil is hanging on the back of Kennels right now. He is on the softer of the compounds, but they are getting in that degradation zone where they're really going to fall off a cliff. So yeah, Neil is really fighting to hang into that slipstream, and just reminding Kennels that he's still firmly in the hunt for his position, and that he's certainly not going to be able to relax. So yeah, Neil within about a couple of car lengths between Kennels and Neil. So it looks like Neil, if he can get a good exit out of the Casio triangle, which it does look like he did, may put Kennels under serious amount of pressure as we come across the lap to start the penultimate lap of the race then, lap number 27 of 28. And Neil is going to be probably the closest he's ever been to the back of Kennels. So Kennels is certainly going to feel that pressure. It's just whether or not he can withstand that pressure. But it does look like throughout the rest of the grid that the gaps are expanding, basically, with Levitis now at the top of the tree, 9 seconds above Wolfie, who currently holds that P2. There is a 2.8 second gap between Wolfie and Vars Vartavis, though. Vars Vartavis actually has a slightly better grip or tread at the minute, with a 1.7 second gap to JDJ, who's got very low fuel actually. So I do wonder whether or not he's going to be able to hold on to P4, because Galara's got a lot more fuel. His soft tyres are looking a little bit worse for wear, let's be honest, but 3 seconds is the gap between them two. They could be duking it out for 4th position come the end of the race. Deacon also very low on fuel in 6th position. This is going to be really hurting Deacon's championship, with Richard as well also on a low fuel, 2.7 seconds with 2.7 seconds behind Deacon, 1.5 seconds ahead of Whipperman, who is starting to close that gap. So he also could come under serious amounts of pressure. But yeah, we're certainly really enjoyed this show. This race has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's gone by so quickly. But I have to say, Levitius again, a true masterclass from him.
Yes, he's just showing his prowess coming through this race. I mean, he's everything that Wolfie kind of threw at him in the last 10 laps. He's just been able to hold off and now actually increase his lead by a couple of seconds. I thought maybe we might see a bit of a battle there with Wolfie maybe closing up, but Levitius matched him. Very consistent lap times. He's in the 44s, 44.7s on those half-worn mediums, which is very impressive indeed. And before that, he's been in the 45s, but he's just been able to keep that car ahead and to make the most of its performance, and to show that the Nissan from 2016 is a very, very competitive car. It's beaten the Meta car, which we all thought was going to be the Hondas, but that Nissan has done extremely well with Levitius at the wheel. And here we have it on the last lap. They're coming on the straight, the back straight, coming into the 130R. Levitius is in the lead, and Sean, I'll leave it to you to bring in the podium positions.
Indeed, thank you, Hugh. So yeah, just coming through 130R for the last time of asking then as we go into the Casio triangle. So Levitius with an absolute flawless performance is going to grab his 5th race win of the season and his quadruple back-to-back victory as well. So congratulations to Levitius. He wins the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka Rail 7 of the SMA GT500 Championship, with VSR Wolfie grabbing his best performance of the season, grabbing 2nd position. Vars Vartavis will get onto a podium as well with his best performance of the season, with a 3rd. VSR JDJ grabs 4th position, Gallara in 5th, Deacon in 6th, VSR Richard in 7th, TNR Whipperman in 8th, with Kennels finishing just in front of Puma Racing Neil to finish in P9, with Neil in P10. Gilbert is going to grab 11th position. And then he's finished in front of Puma Racing Mac. He's going to finish in 12th position. And unfortunately for TNR, Captain Slow, he stuck at it, but unfortunately, it was just very unlucky for him. I unfortunately didn't see what happened at the start of the race, but he may have made a mistake. Maybe there was a coming together. We'll know probably after the race, but congratulations to everyone in the race, and certainly congratulations to the top three as well. Levitius with an absolutely amazing performance, and we're going to see two new drivers in the podium interviews, Hugh.
That's fantastic, isn't it, to see fresh faces here on the podium that we can ask the questions and see how their feelings for the race were. But yeah, great performance, great driving, and I mean, it was pretty close right the way through the field. I mean, I felt for poor old Captain Slow there, who managed to he just couldn't make a dent on the cars in front, simply because all the drivers are performing so well. They're driving really to the maximum, and when you've got that kind of gap, it's almost impossible to do it. But good on him for keeping going and finishing the race in that position. But at least it's something. At least he's got a finish, which is always good. But well done to the top three, our podium, Levitius, and it was an absolute brilliant race. And Wolfie in second place, and Vartavis in third. And I'm sure Sean will be speaking to them very soon in our interview room.
Yes, that is the hope. That is the hope. Yes, just confirmation of the race results from round 7 at Suzuka. Levitius with his 5th victory of the season. Looks pretty comfortable for him. We'll get his thoughts very, very shortly. But it was a season best for VSR Wolfie, who managed to grab 2nd position ahead of his teammate Vartavis. And I'm sure I'm going to ask him whether or not I'm pronouncing his name correctly, because I'm pretty sure he's going to put me in my place. But a great performance nevertheless from him. He should be so proud of himself, as well as Wolfie. JDJ grabs an excellent P4 as well. It was his returning race into Tier 1 from Tier 2 in round number 6. So an excellent performance and good points for him coming into next week. Fifth position went to VSR Galara, and also another very good performance from him as well. And certainly in recent weeks, that's one of his best performances. And Deacon, don't know if he's slightly disappointed from that. We're used to seeing him on podium. This is the first race that he's finished outside of a podium, so it shows you how good Deacon has been this season. 7th position went to VSR Richard, another driver that in recent times we've seen on podium, but we find him in 7th position. He may well be a little bit disappointed with that, but finishing ahead of TNR Whipperman, who grabbed 8th position. 9th position went to Kennels, so good performance from Kennels. Also his returning drive from Tier 2. 10th position went to Puma Racing Neil, and 11th position went to TNR's Latari or Joubert. Ahead of Puma Racing Mac in 12th position, and as mentioned, TNR Captain Slow, unlucky from him. I think maybe I'll have to look back on the replay and see exactly what happened. But yeah, certainly he didn't give up, and he did start to close that gap, but unfortunately, it was just too much of a gap for him to close in. But yes, we are going to talk to the podium finishers then in Levitius, Wolfie and Vartavis. So if we can get ourselves into that waiting room, Hugh, and yes, we will get the thoughts of the top 3 drivers. Okay, right. So we're in the waiting room now. I think we've got all the drivers with us, have we? Yes, we do. Okay, we're going to start off with... please don't hate me here. I'm going to call you Vars. Is that okay to call you Vars?
Yeah, I've been wanting to get onto the podium for so long, just to help you out a little bit. So it's pronounced Varswatervis, but if you translate it, it's actually called a freshwater fish.
Oh, okay.
So you're more than welcome to just call me Fish.
Fish.
That's
Okay.
easier.
Yeah, that'll work for me.
Yeah, just call me Fish. It's going to be a lot easier.
You may have noticed I have to do this for most people's names, so yeah, that certainly helps me out. But certainly, Fish, congratulations to you. Best performance, best result of the season for you. How are you feeling after that?
Yes, I finally managed to put one together, which is awesome. Qualifying didn't go well again, but that's to be expected now from me. But finally got everything, kept it on track, and I think our strategy was good. Levy obviously is world class. I think he was doing soft times on medium, so couldn't keep up with him. But I think against someone like Diki for 40 and R guys, VSR guys to beat him, I think our strat was on point.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was quite surprised actually, because Levitius does kind of give me the lowdown on strategies, and so I was pretty certain that most people were going to run the medium strategy. But then to my surprise, I saw JDJ start off on the soft tyres, and then I thought, you know what? I wonder if the VSR drivers are going to adopt the same strategy. And then of course I saw you go longer on the medium stint, so yeah, worked to perfection for you.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we tested both strats, and we figured either, well, with the GTR, I think the tyre wear's a bit worse, according to Richard, our teammate. So he said he's going to go medium. We figured Levy and Diki will do the same, unless they do a soft medium, in which case I think we would have been more competitive, but luckily they're not, or unfortunately they're smart enough to do medium, which we thought they would do. But in practice, on the Honda, the tyre wear's a little bit better, so we managed to get about 11 or 12 laps on the softs and be competitive with medium times on the latter end of the stint. So I think it went well.
Yeah, it definitely went well. I have to ask as well, Fish. So obviously you was in the 2008 cars before, and we kind of knew that the Honda was a little bit tricky to drive and not the best on its tyres and stuff. But going into the 2016 car, what are your thoughts on this NSX? Do you feel like you have the advantage going into this latter half of the season?
It seems so on tyre wear, at least. On raw pace, I mean, if you look at qualifying, it was still Levy and Richard up top with the GTR. So that's noteworthy. I think it's still on raw pace. It might be better, but on tyre wear, I think we have a slight advantage. And this was only, I think, 2 times tyre wear. So if it gets worse, the advantage might get a little bigger. I hope so. But it definitely feels a lot better than the 08 Honda. So I'm glad about that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, maybe that's reflective of the results for sure. Hugh, have you got any questions for Fish?
Hi, Fish. A well-deserved third place. Well
you.
done on that. It's great to see you on the podium. How do you find the biggest difference between the 2016 car and the 2008? I know we're talking. It seems a little bit easier. But what do you think's given it that competitive advantage, or that's got you up on the podium today?
Yeah, I think handling-wise, it's well, obviously except for raw pace, which the 16s are much faster. But handling-wise, it just feels like it's on rails. Through that sector 1, I took the GTR for a spin through sector 1, and man, it feels terrible compared to the Honda through the first sector, and that's like twisty and stuff. So it definitely feels like it's on rails, and I think handling wise, that's just going to be a big bonus for us, and especially also planting it out of corners. You don't have to be as cautious as with the 08. You can sort of floor it a little bit faster. Yeah. I do think the GTR, however, does have the acceleration out of corners on us. You can see that in the last sector by the spoon. The GTR seem to have a better exit every time there, except for when their tires wore. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest difference.
Fantastic. Well done for a great third place tonight, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys for the stream. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for to chatting to us, because it's great to get your thoughts. And yeah, congratulations on the third position, and look forward to seeing you more often in the interview room.
Yes, let's hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Yes.
Okay, so again, first time in the commentary booth then. We've got our second place finisher, which was Wolfie with his best performance of the season to date. Wolfie, pleasure to meet you, and how are you feeling after that?
Likewise, at last we meet. It was a long season to get here. It wasn't fun the first half, but Honda was trying to kill me around every corner. But yeah, it was a lacquer race, a good result, and yeah, at last we on the podium. Can't be happier. It was a good result for kicking off the second half of the season. So no, I'm happy with that. Very satisfied with the race result.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic performance. So this is like sort of the difficult thing, really, because we do know how good Levitius is. But was there at any point that you thought, do you know what, this strategy could work? We could pip Levitius being on the different strategy, or is Levitius just too damn consistent?
No, look, Levi's a world-class driver. We had a good year last year. Myself and him, we had some good races. Look, my quali has been a disaster this year, so that's what puts me on the back foot with my strat every time. I was bargaining if I could put it on the top three. I could have made the strat work a bit closer to Levi. Winning him, I doubt it. He had super pace on the mediums. And also the reason why we did the strat was because there's a premium on track position, because it's not that easy to overtake. It might look easy, but in practice we found it very difficult to get a clean pass on this track. So when we got into the pits, we knew that if we go to the softs, whoever's behind your mediums, that's over and done with, and then you can focus who's in front of you. So the strat was to be as soft as possible on that mediums in the first stint, stretch that fuel, get the maximum amount of laps so that we can do the least amount on the softs, and just have a stint of looking after the tires and just managing the pace to whoever's behind in front of you. By pit time I knew we weren't going to catch Levi. He was just on a planet.
Yeah, it's becoming definitely becoming a regularity, I think, from Levitius's part for sure. Yeah, I mean, certainly I was going to sort of elaborate on your point about, Suzuka being quite difficult to make passes on. We did see some like audacious moves, particularly actually from Galaro, and basically I thought at the time I was kind of like clenching in my seat, really, because I generally thought he was getting quite late on the brakes, but it was actually very well timed as well. But you have to have that kind of trust between the drivers as well, isn't it, to make sure that you give each other kind of room on the track itself.
Yeah, I think we've raced with Levi a lot in the past, so I think there's a big mutual respect between ourselves and him. Mm-hmm. And also Diki, we've raced a lot with Diki in the past. So I think this car enables us to put ourselves in a position where we can challenge them. That's the main thing. The stability of the car under braking is really a game changer. I think, like Fish said earlier, car does feel if it's on rails, but it's very well behaved in the braking area. I thought that the car would be a bit tail snappy if you go hot into corners, but for some reason this car just sticks. So it's putting us in a position to fight, and it's been a long time coming, because it's a good reward for the price we paid with that 08 Honda in the first half of the season. I don't think I've ever struggled to extract performance from a car like I've struggled with that car. And then my qualifying performances, the races where I was competitive, my quality performances just took me out of the race. Last week was a perfect example where I felt like we actually had a chance to beat Levi, and we qualified 14th on the grid. So we didn't make it easy for ourselves. But let's hope the tide has changed now, and we can put a good performance in for the second half of the season.
I'm just thinking, you wait until it's just hard tyres mandatory or something.
Yeah, yes, I must tell you, this tonight's a big relief. This car is a dream to drive, and we had a good result. And what we trained in the week related onto track, so we got what we expected, and for a change, that's a good experience and a good feeling to sort of just take what you practiced to the race. Which gives you also, it's a major confidence booster if you know what the car is going to do and how it's going to react to your input. So, no, it was fun.
Awesome to hear. Hugh, have you got any questions for Wolfie?
Yes, good to meet you, Wolfie, and well done for a fantastic second place tonight in the race. I was going to say you did lots of great overtakes, but what was your favourite overtake tonight?
Yeah, well, I must say the one on Dicky, it actually caught me by surprise. He did brake a bit earlier than I expected, so I wasn't planning on taking him at that point. But the overspeed was just too much, and before I could do anything, I was next to him. So then you're halfway in it. You have to just keep it clean and commit. So I must say it caught me a bit off guard, but that was a good clean move, and respect to DQ for also in that situation keeping it clean. That's fun driving. That's racing that we enjoy. So no, that was a good happy. Nice to meet you as well.
Oh, you're very welcome. Oh, it's fantastic watching all these great moves tonight, and well done for a great performance. And you see lots of great clean moves. Really, it was a wonderful moves throughout the field, really. It was a great race to commentate on, and lots to talk about. And I think it's very encouraging for the rest of the championship now, because you're showing your competitiveness, and hopefully if you can get your qualifying up a bit further, then you can take the fight to Levitius for the rest of the season. But many congratulations on a great performance, and we look forward to seeing you again, hopefully soon in the podium interview room with myself and Sean. But well done on a great performance tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's hope I'll make a habit of being in this interview after the race. That will be
definitely.
good.
Definitely.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much. And thanks for the stream, guys. Your stream is absolutely top notch. It's fun to watch, and it's very professional, and it's really fun. It's you guys are doing a prima job. It's excellent.
I think I like Wolf even more now. I think he might be my favourite driver. No, honestly, it was a brilliant race from yourself, and keep it up, and hope to have you in this commentary booth more often, and certainly try to take the fight to TNR and Levitius.
We'll do our best. Thank you. We appreciate it. It was lekker. Thanks.
Thank you, Wolfie.
Cheers. Bye.
And then, last but not least, we have the race winner from round 7 at Suzuka. It is, of course, Levitius. Congratulations,
Hello.
Levitius. Hello to you. How are you feeling? You must be on top of the world.
To be honest with you, that was the first 7 laps were quite stressful. I was predicting that was going to happen with JDJ because I was not willing to sacrifice my stint tire wear just to stay ahead. So it was quite nerve-wracking when I saw him starting to pull away, and then a couple of laps later I saw him just struggle through a lot of corners, and I realized, okay, he's cooked his tires. It's time to pounce and then break away. It was pretty straightforward most of the time. The GTR isn't completely the easiest car to drive, but I made it work.
So was there at any point that you thought, I see that, for example, JDJ, who was on the soft tyres, at any point did you think, that's a strategy I didn't predict. Have I got something wrong here, or was it always you felt like you had it in the bag?
To be honest with you, I didn't realize he was on the softs. I thought he was just pushing really hard at the beginning of the race. I just didn't think the soft tires were that viable because I would rather want to push really hard on, not push hard, but just basically do a more consistent medium pace for both stints than go outright pace for one stint and then lose a bit on the end of the medium stint. So I think everything was under control. I expected this. I spoke to the team as well that I knew this was going to happen. The GTR's tire wear, if you're not managing the tires at all, you're going to end up in a situation like I saw just right now. My teammate's tire wear is significantly worse than mine. So it's all about just keeping the tires under the threshold of 90 degrees. And if you do that, the tires will last a very long time. So yeah.
No, it was a fantastic performance. It was, in my eyes, it was faultless. And I know I've said this quite a number of times now, Levitis, but, we didn't really show that much of your drive because, again, like once kind of you had that round of pit stops, it just looked pretty certain that you was just going to kind of like pull away. It was kind of mentioned from Wolfie and Fish as well that your consistency was key really, and you was kind of like matching like times that they were setting on the soft tires. For me it was just absolutely fantastic to see, and I had to give you that last lap of honour really, just to kind of make up for it. So definitely congratulations to you, Levi, and hopefully you're feeling confident ahead of for the sort of remaining 5 races of the season.
Mostly feeling confident. I've already mentioned it, that I know there's going to be one track that the GTR is going to struggle at a lot, but we're going to keep hanging in there. Today, the championship went really well for me. Deaky didn't score as many points as I thought he was going to do, so yeah, we're just going to keep churning out the results to see what happens, and try and make this beast of a GTR work. It's all about tire management. Every race now is not going to be about raw pace. It's going to be all about tire management and consistency, which is going to be difficult at certain tracks coming up, but we'll make the most of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will see in the coming weeks, that's for sure. I've forgotten your name, Hugh. Hugh, any questions?
Yeah, congratulations again, Levitius, on a magnificent win tonight. It was a great performance, and at one point towards the end, when Wolfie was about 8 seconds behind you, and I thought, oh, is he going to do something here? Are we going to see that gap come down? And for about half a lap, there was about half a second that you lost to him, but then you got that back pretty much straight away, and then eventually you pulled away from about 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Were you a little bit worried or concerned in those last 10 laps or so that Wolfie might manage to pull the gap in?
To be honest with you, I was not worried at all because my tire management in the second stint was going to be quite easy when I had 50% less fuel at the start of the stint. It's usually the first 3 or 4 laps when you're on 100% fuel where you get the most heat into the tires. So once I knew that I got them up to temperature slowly and then just built up my pace consistently, I was very confident. I just had to churn out the laps basically.
Yeah. Well done. I mean, that's a magnificent performance, and it really shows that you're thinking ahead on the strategy, and you've got this kind of a masterclass of showing us how to look after our tyres for driving these kind of cars. So well done on a well-deserved win tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next few races. But it's great to see your performances getting better and better, and but I'm sure there'll be plenty of competition who'll be snapping at your heels as we come in the following races towards the end of the championship. But well done for a well-deserved first place tonight.
Thank you, Hugh.
Yeah, and obviously I second that as well. 5th win of the season, quadruple back-to-back wins now as well. So he's certainly on a hot streak, Levi, and may it continue for the rest of the season.
Thank you. And also congratulations to Wolfie and Fiss on their results on their first podium of the season.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and thank you for your time, Levitis. We'll look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so that is the podium interviews done, and we have actually got a special guest. I think I can see him lurking in the background. So let's try and get him on board. JP, are you there?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me this time around.
I can hear you loud and clear. I may have to turn you up slightly, but yeah, good to have you here. For those that don't know, this is the proprietor of Simulator Cave, our main sponsor for this championship, and it's a big honour to have you with us today. And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for supporting the SMA throughout this season. JP, if you'd be so kind to tell us a little bit about yourself and how it all began before creating your company, Simulator Cave.
Awesome. I'll gladly do that. Firstly, just congrats to all the racers. What a pleasure to watch the race. You guys are really awesome. You can really do this stuff. And I know we talk a lot about the aliens, but I think there's a lot of aliens hidden away in the general public doing GT7 racing. So congrats. Pretty cool stuff you guys are doing. And yes, congrats to the team. I think it's an honor to be part of to be a sponsor of such a excellently run league. So congrats to the team. I think we often take it for granted that a lot of people just do this stuff in the background. So on behalf of us, the sponsor, and I think all the racers, thanks for getting this up and running and doing it so well. Commentating is fantastic. It's like watching a normal F1 race, and especially if you at Suzuka, it's what a pleasure to watch and experience the racing like this way. And yeah, so it's nice to be part of it, and only an honor to take part and being able to give back to the racing community. I think I'm a racer by heart. I've been a sim racer since I can remember, and it's good to be part of the community and see how sim racing in South Africa is growing. It's what a pleasure to be part of it. So thank you for that. By the way, a lot of people will know me as Gert. So a lot of people also know me as JP. So for practical reasons, decided to stick with a JP because more people will pronounce JP a lot easier, and a lot of people know me as JP. So if you know me as Gert, you can call me Gert. That's fine. If you know me as JP, that's also cool. It's not another person. It's not a split personality. It's the same guy. Just like a nickname that's also coming to the fore.
Yeah, well, I think that was mainly for me, wasn't it? As you probably would have heard, yes, I get everyone's names wrong. So certainly when you said to me, yeah, call me JP, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, JP. You know, where did it all start when it comes to like the sim racing side of things, and of course, how did you get yourself involved in sort of creating your company?
Okay, so for me, it started the same way as it starts for everyone. I think we all love cars, and the excitement of racing, and just the thought of having this thing on your computer and you can, or your PlayStation, and you can do it anytime, any hour of the day. It blew my mind, and I wanted to get decent equipment. I had a fair PC back in 1989 odd, and I got F1. I love F1, by the way, and I got F1 to put it on my PC, but it wouldn't run. My PC simply wasn't good enough, and went to I had quite a few sims like Need for Speed Underground. I think we call it sim racing now, but thinking back after our conversation last night, we probably called it the game that we used to race. So I called it Need for Speed. That's what it meant for me, because I had quite a few Need for Speed products on my PC, and Porsche 2000 Underground, and the whole lot. So F1 obviously at the time was also run by EA Sports. So or was it EA Sports? I can't remember. But in any case, the thing is that for me it started on my PC with a keyboard. You didn't even use a mouse. And later on, I found a company who sold a steering wheel and pedals. I was blown away. It actually had force feedback. This is before Logitech was on the scene. And it was just an amazing experience, and grew from there. Imported through eBay my first set of Fanatic pedals many years ago. That blew my mind completely, because all sim racers will know the one thing you always have issue with is most probably the pedals, because it takes a hell of a beating, and potentiometers, they don't last, they get dirty. The pedals in those days, they literally broke. I mean, the whole casing would fall apart. So, so getting decent pedals, machined aluminium, Hall sensors, load cell, it was just amazing. This was back in 2011 or 2012. I think they launched it in 2009. That's how long they've had load cell pedals. And obviously in South Africa, we weren't exposed to this type of quality. We had Logitech, which was fantastic products. Logitech G25 and G27 at the time. And it just blew my mind, and I started importing for myself and repairing stuff for people, and it grew from there. So it's literally a hobby, a love for sim racing that developed into a business. And obviously with the more sim racers coming on the scene, supporting us, it grew, and quite proud of what we've done. But at the same time, thankful for all the support, and especially through the seeing the names. I'm not always sure of the. With time, I learned to understand the racing names and link it to a customer name, and it's actually astonishing how many of the racers that supported us. So thank you for that. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to do what we're doing, and we're still growing, and glad to be able to give back to the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and to be honest, like I didn't, I didn't know about all the problems that South Africa have in kind of like acquiring equipment. So
yeah, you guys in UK are pretty lucky, man. I tell you what.
Yeah, no, you're quite possibly right. Although I would say that the accessibility could still be better. Like, you know, it'd be nice to have some of these wheelbases, wheel rims, whatever, to be in like your general stores rather than having to sort of order it online or but yeah, my question really to you, JP, is just, you know, explain to some of us that don't know the problems that you may experience in South Africa, you know, being as a customer, what they face and why they should really inquire with someone like yourself at Simulator Cave.
All right, so obviously getting proper, high-end sim racing equipment is a bit of a challenge, because South Africa is quite small in the bigger picture worldwide. So the guys don't have outlets in South Africa. So you can obviously get Logitech quite easily. You will not be able to get the Logitech high-end equipment like the Pro and the load cell pedals. Again, for the same reason, we are too small. They don't have that's for a different type of market, or can I say they ship it to different product markets, and South Africa is simply not in it. The same for Thrustmaster. Getting the stuff here, you need somebody to spend a lot of money, and the support has never been what it's supposed to be. So it's difficult doing that. And for myself, I created infrastructure to get the Fanatic equipment with a warranty in South Africa, firstly for myself, and then obviously to distribute that way as well. So, naturally, we also, in time, Moza contacted us, so we also an official supplier for them. Moza, excellent equipment at an excellent price. Obviously not officially PlayStation compatible. There are workarounds, but the official PlayStation decent product will be the Fanatic product. I do believe it's better than your Logitech setup as well, especially if you look at the ecosystem, the quality of the pedals and the quality of the steering wheels, the whole ecosystem. It's certainly next level. So it's a lot of money, but it's worth investing in that. I think a lot of the guys who've gone down the rabbit hole and spent off a year's pay on the equipment, they understand. Once you've experienced it, you understand it's a different league altogether. So it's a lot of money, but it's worth it. And yes, so we provide the warranty locally in South Africa for Fanatic. So we handle the warranty. You're not going to be, we communicate with Fanatic on your behalf, but in most cases, the stuff is sorted out and repaired right here within a couple of days in most cases. So that's the advantage. So of purchasing it through us. So if you do have a friend that can ship it from UK or the US, you're obviously going to have a warranty issue because the warranty is valid in that country only. So we have a workaround on that. So if I need to, I ship it literally back to that country, and then but that's in very odd cases. It's happened quite a long time ago that we had to do that. Fanatic actually supplies us with the parts if needed, so we can repair the stuff right here. So and we actually have donor units, so that we you don't have to wait like a couple of months to get the stuff. In most cases, we actually repair it within a couple of days. So that's quite cool. So that's infrastructure that we built with time. And again, it's because of people supporting us that we've been able to do that. And you talked about the ability to, you wish you had the ability to buy stuff in the UK in a store. I know there's a couple of places in the US that have that, but we're actually working on that now. We're developing a proper walk-in store where you'll be able to walk in and purchase the stuff immediately. And experience it as well. So we already had the experience, simulator experience for quite a while, but you had to book it, and it was an appointment, etc. But we hopefully in the next month we should have the new facility open with quite a few rigs, quite a few your setups ready to go and experience. I think for me, I was blown away when I picked up that first set of decent pedals. I couldn't believe the quality of the stuff. And a YouTube video simply cannot convey the reality of that. You need to feel it and experience it. And the same for the feedback, the difference between the different types of wheelbases. Obviously, everything now these days are direct. Well, not everything, but the high-end stuff, all direct drive. But if you haven't experienced it, you don't really know what the difference is and the advantage of that. Same for pedals, understanding the difference between the entry level and the high-end pedals. By the way, a load cell pedal, whether it be the cheap one or the more expensive one, it won't make you faster, no matter what the YouTube videos tell you. That's a lie. Your mind actually gets used to a certain set of pedals. As long as it's functioning fine, it'll do the job. Load cell pedals definitely makes a difference because it's more consistent. But you don't need to spend like the $5,000 mark on pedals to be faster, as long as you get decent low cell pedals. And by the way, we actually have some decent low cell pedals at a nice price. The Simnet pedals, we had agreement with Simnet. It's a Chinese manufacturer, and the pedals are very similar to your Usingfeld pedals, load cell, and high quality stuff, and it works on Fanatic. So that's an alternative to the Fanatic pedals at a very good price, and you also have the haptics that can be connected to that. A cool thing with PlayStation, you can now connect a PC to your PlayStation and get the telemetry from the PlayStation and run your haptics through a PC next to your PlayStation. So you can actually start getting the butt kicker immersion. You can have the haptic immersion, like your wheels locking up, the road vibrations, all of that stuff you can start getting now because of the clever work of the designer of SimHub, which is a PC program that connects to PlayStation. So pretty cool stuff and exciting new developments, I think, for the PlayStation world as well.
Yeah, well, I was just about to kind of like elaborate on that because, of course, we know that the equipment, in particular, you sell Moser and Fanatec, but you know, because everyone probably in stream, play Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation. Moser's not natively compatible with PlayStation, although I know that there are workarounds. But my kind of question really was maybe towards Fanatec was for the people like maybe even myself actually, because I've got a Thrustmaster wheel, right? So these tend to be cheaper, but probably cheaper for a reason. So I was going to ask, really, even though we know the Fanatec equipment is more expensive, is it more of an investment and something that perhaps you pay more, but you get a lot better reliability and last longer?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind that when you compare it to Thrustmaster, I'm a little bit upset with Thrustmaster. I think they missed an opportunity with their new direct drives and the new pedals that they have. They could step up and manufacture something really good, but they didn't. So they still stayed within the entry level markets and not well designed or well engineered equipment. So we fix this stuff. We open it up. We can see the difference between Thrustmaster, Logitech, and Fanatic and Moza. So Moza and Fanatic is really in a different league. You can't compare it. It's like comparing a Ferrari to a Tata. It's in a different league altogether. So look, you have a Ferrari can also break down. So a lot of the sim racers now know that there are issues with all equipment. We have the similar firmware issues with Moza and with Fanatic, but that's to do with the technology and when it connects to PCs and firmware. But the problems are it's not that obvious. So the thing with YouTube, if you look at the issues people have, the internet tends to amplify problems more than the good news. And my experience is that the problems are very few and far in between. So the chances you will have get Moza or Fanatic equipment and have problems are very slim. And if you do have, there are solutions to those as well. So you can buy a new car and the whole thing is a warranty is there for a purpose to help you to solve the problems. So, but yes, I think there's two things when it comes to upgrading from your Logitech or Thrustmaster to Fanatic. Is firstly the quality of the feedback, the quality of the material. It is in a different league altogether. So you're going to feel so much more of what the car is doing. You can feel the sway of the car. You can start doing things like lift off, oversteer, and so you can literally carry more speed through a corner. When somebody taps you from behind, you can feel that happening, and you can most probably catch the car. With your Logitech or Thrustmaster, you would have lost the car and didn't know exactly what happened. So it's definitely worthwhile in that sense. So it will not necessarily, it'll probably not make you faster, but it will make you a better driver in the bigger picture, because you can control your car better. And the other thing, I hear that some of the racers talked about tire wear makes a huge difference, especially if you do a couple of laps. Most racers know about the single lap. When you do a single lap in high-end equipment as opposed to a controller, the controller can be just as fast as the high-end equipment. But do 10 laps and it's a different ball game. The guy with the controller has completely messed up his tires and he will lose the race. With high-end equipment, you can feel when you're locking up. You can feel when you're turning the steering wheel too far. So you can literally manage the tires, and that's part of why the top racers do better, is because I think they're more attentive to saving their tires. And so yes, you can feel much more. And so it's firstly the immersive and the quality, and secondly the quality of the material. And we have quite a few customers with they've had the equipment for many years. Well, I'm one of those. I've got steering wheels that are probably about 11 years old or even older, and they still function 100%. And one of the things that I appreciate from Fanatic, which no other manufacturer do as far as I know, is they make things backward compatible. So my first steering wheels still fit on the latest wheelbases. So that came unfortunately with a bit of a problem. That's most people heard about the QR1 problem, where that shaft can pull out and the Type-C port can disconnect. So by the way, that's the reason why that happens is because they made the product upgradable so that you can remove that and fit a QR2. So unfortunately, that came with a weak spot. And we tend to, especially when we're excited and racing hard, we tend to not only turn the wheel, but we tend to pull on it as well. And then those things tend to wiggle loose, and you would get a disconnect. And it's disastrous if you're in a race, in a championship, and suddenly your shifters won't work. So that's an unfortunate problem we had with the QR1s. So gradually the QR2 is coming in. And I think by the end of the year, probably everything will be in QR2 naturally, because some of the stuff we purchase now will come automatically QR2. There's a slight price increase, but not too big. But that's nice. But you can also upgrade your old equipment to QR2. That's an option. But there's a third thing. One of the things that we found was the biggest issue with the QR1 was actually the clamp that held everything in place. So the C clamp has got one single point where it connects. When we use the QR2 double clamp, where it's got 2 points of connection or clamping, it completely removed the issue of the shaft pulling out. And we actually have a guy that manufactured those for us. Now I'll probably soon I'll put those on the website for not a lot of money, so you can get this and replace your C clamp with a double clamp, and it'll probably completely remove that issue, if you have that issue, or if you're worried that you might have that issue, to take that away.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, that was quite the explanation, I have to say, and certainly convinced me. That's for sure, because I am definitely in the market for a new wheel. But obviously, as you know, these products are not cheap, so it's very important to kind of like spend your money on something that is like reliable, that is it's well worth your time and your money in investing. That's great to hear, definitely. JP, there is one other question I was going to ask you, and it is based on like rigs. So a lot of sim racers, when they're like new to sim racing and when they buy their first wheel, they unfortunately don't have the full setups. Most will clamp their wheels to a desk and not have anything to tie the pedals down, for example. In my case, as I explained yesterday, and noticed that Robin had the same setup as me, I was using an ironing board, which wasn't ideal and gave me a few back problems.
Tell you what, that's astonishingly good.
I mean, it's improvising, isn't it?
That's just awesome.
Certainly something you had to do, but it was a bit painful.
We got to ask Robin to post that photo on the group, because honestly, that is just magnificent. That's the best mod that I ever saw to get the pedals sturdy, get the wheel connected, and I'm not sure how happy the wife would be, but at least your racing is going to be better. That's an awesome solution.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I think he had it in place a lot more securely than I did, for sure. So, I should have really took some tips from Robin. JP, just tell us about the importance of racing cockpits and the advantages that it really brings.
Yes, that's a very important question. Thank you. I've noticed a couple of the YouTubers, when they talk about sim racing and the important things you need to do, they mention the importance of a rig. But my honest opinion is that it's more important to upgrade your rig to a aluminium type rig before you even get a direct drive. Because if you get a direct drive with all that force feedback and all the detail or the potential detail, and you mount it to a desk, the desk is being shaken and you're losing all the feel to your hands in any case. So the whole idea is that they laser trace those tracks and they digitize it, and the direct drive brings all the detail of the over, understeer, the locking up, etc. to your hands. But if it's not secure, you're not going to feel it in any case. So I find that when you even take a Logitech or Thrustmaster and you mount it to a solid rig, the seating position, the pedals being sturdy, the wheel being sturdy in a comfortable position, that already improves your racing because you're more comfortable, it's more consistent. So I would honestly recommend racers to first look at upgrade their rig before they go to a direct drive. And I know it's not the most exciting way of looking at it, but when you do that, even your Logitech becomes better, becomes more immersive, because you can even feel on that a little bit more detail, and just being everything mounted more solidly. You can do more with it. You're going to be more consistent. There's nothing worse than the pedals not being properly mounted and moving while you're braking. You will never be able to do trail braking and hitting the apex perfectly if your pedals have any movement at all. So and having it mounted to a decent rig is very important. So, and then that is obviously ready for when you upgrade to a direct drive, you can mount your that to the aluminium rig. So we're quite proud of the aluminium rigs we manufacture. So it's all locally sourced aluminium. So and we get it at a very good price because of the quantities. Completely redesign or rethink of aluminium frames. So it's designed on a car seating position. We literally measured the car seating position in a Porsche and at an M4, and we built that into the rig. So it's a proper GT seating position. The pedal mount's quite unique. It's hinged, so it's easy to get your cables underneath, adjust the positioning, and the steering racks are tilt and reach and height adjustable. So it's like getting in your normal car. You're going to move your seat forward, backward, change the backrest angle, and move the steering rack to your comfortable position, and it just makes a huge difference. So I would honestly recommend racers to rather postpone going the direct drive and first get the aluminium rig, and then go the load cell and the direct drives route. It's the wisest option. It's the wiser option. It's not always the most exciting option, but I can tell you what, when you get the aluminium rig, and yes, you're welcome. The guys are you're welcome to pop in and sit in one and experience it. You're going to notice the difference. It's definitely worthwhile doing this, and you're not going to be disappointed in taking the longer route in upgrading your equipment.
Yeah, well, that I definitely agree with that one. I would say also as well, the back support as well, isn't it? Like especially if you're doing any like endurance races and stuff.
Absolutely, that's true.
Yeah. So very, very important. And even though I haven't got said aluminium rig, still having kind of like the correct seating position, well, I don't have load cell pedals. I don't have a direct drive wheel with the amount of torque that they produce, but having a little bit more stability and not having a wheelbase that actually falls off the desk, for example, mid-race. Makes a huge difference. So just to sort of answer that question, or even just extend what you said there, really, JP, is that the rig is certainly a piece of equipment that is certainly underrated and really does heighten your experience. Hugh, have you got any questions? If there's anyone in chat as well, this is your chance to actually forward any questions to JP as well. But Hugh, are you there? Have you got any questions at all?
Hello there. Yes,
there he is.
I did. Sorry. You covered every question very well, Sean. And it's good to meet you, JP. Good to meet you indeed. And it sounds like a very exciting business that you have there. I was wondering, what are your kind of best offers that will appeal to our SMA drivers today? What are your kind of the best offers and most popular equipment that you sell?
Yeah. Look, it's the thing that we try to do is we try to discount the products as much as possible. So we always, this is a constant thing. we give you way more discount if you buy the rig and the direct drive equipment at the same time. So on the Fanatic setup, when you go to our website and you go to the Fanatic bundles, you'll see there's a Builder Sim Rig bundle. So there's even a PlayStation bundle as well. So it's a Rig and GTDD Pro bundle, and there you can save up to 12%. So it's the biggest saving, and then you get everything that you need. And what's cool about this is nowhere else you can do this. You can select which wheelbase you want, 8, 5, or 15 Newton meter, which is all obviously PlayStation compatible. You can select any steering wheel, any pedal set, and that now also includes the Simnet pedals, which are Fanatic compatible. So you can connect it through your wheelbase, and it will work on a PlayStation. You can select any of the 3 rigs we have: the Apex, the Apex Pro, and the Ultimate. And you can select any of the seats that we have available. You don't, if you have a decent car seat, you can fit that as well. You don't need to go for a seat, but and it automatically comes with a machined aluminium side mount system as well. So one of the things that I love about the Fanatic engineers, they really think about this. You can see the 26 years experience. When they built their first direct drive, the Podium DD1 and DD2, they added side mount, and it just makes so much more sense because torque is a twisting force, and if you mount it at the bottom, there will be a little bit of movement. We're talking little bits, but believe it or not, you can actually feel the difference when you mount it at the bottom as opposed to mounting it on the side. Because if you mount it on the side, it holds it on both sides, and the twist or the torque is held right there in the center. And so with all the newer wheelbases are side mounted, and we manufactured a proper machined aluminium tilt reach height adjustable mount for that. So all that torque is channeled to your hands and is not dissolved into the rig. So that also comes with it. Look, it's not cheap, but you can technically build. Let's say if we look at the website now, you can get a 5 Newton meter GTDD Pro. By the way, you can't buy that direct from Fanatic. We do that because we have excess 5 Newton meter power supplies, because we bought a lot of the 8 Newton meter power supplies some time ago when they had a special on that. And then we give the customer the option which wheelbase you want to go for. So let's say you want to go for the 5 Newton meter setup. You go for the cheapest wheel will be the we don't have that one at the moment. But let's say you go for the entry level SP Pro load cell pedals. You go for the Apex rig, and you go for the racing seat, and let's just select that one over there. And so full bundle you can build for 44,000 rand. So then it's a proper rig. And the other cool thing that we do is we actually do trade-in. So if your equipment is in decent condition, we can actually trade that in. You will always get more if you sell it privately, but we also take it in, and we will fix it and clean it and get it market ready and sell it to somebody else who needs pre-owned equipment. So yes, I think that's a constant deal that we have available. We will be running some specials on QR2s, I think, from the end of the month. So we just want to make sure about the product availability, but that will be with new products that you will probably get the QR2 system automatically added onto the product. So we're hoping by the end of the year, in any case, to have all of that as standard. But that's a pretty good deal, and then you get high-end equipment, decent aluminium frame for excellent price.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much for that, JP. It's great to see that your business is doing well, and that you're really standing out at the forefront of what is available in sim racing, and helping people get a really enhanced experience of sim racing, which makes such a difference when you can get something really decent, and it gives you so much more feel. So thanks very much for answering that, and for sponsoring the SMA Championship. It's really great to see so many enthusiasts looking at the equipment and being sponsored by the likes of your type of business there, that goes hand in hand with what we love doing so much. But I'll go back to Sean, and I'll let him to round things up.
Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, JP, I could talk about this subject all day long, and we had quite a long conversation yesterday as well, didn't we? So,
It was nice.
yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully, to those that are watching, hopefully that's a great insight into why Simulator Cave do what they do, sell these high-end equipment and make sure that you get the full sim racing experience. And if you are intrigued with the Simulator Cave experience, then obviously head over to simulatorcave.com for well, you mentioned actually that maybe there'll be a virtual tour, although it doesn't obviously give off the same vibes of actually being in your shop and actually experiencing these full setups to actually see for themselves how beneficial that and how good that these products feel. Definitely go check out the simulatorcave.com website. Get yourself booked in for an experience. And JP, we're going to have to cut it there, unfortunately. But hopefully we can get you back on in the near future.
Yes, that'll be awesome. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity. And again, thanks for all the support. We really appreciate it. And by the way, those simulator experiences are for free for all the league races. So you just contact me and arrange it, and we get you in the gear. It's such cool stuff. It's definitely worth it. If you close to the airport, we're not just a couple of minutes from the Ouer Tambo airport. So even if you in Cape Town and you come by, if you arrange it in advance, we can make sure that the equipment is ready so that you can have some fun.
Yeah, and JP, just looking at the comments in chat as well. I mean, you've seems like you've got a lot of fans out there, a lot of rave reviews as well. Paul McKenzie saying about great service, great products. Kennel's talking about his setup, saying he had a baby booster seat, so that is improvisation, I have to say. And also Sean Klassen also saying about the great service, and if you know that you've got any problems, their support, which obviously you alluded to as well, and being fast support as well. You're not having to wait months on end. It's literally either sending it to your shop or dropping it down to your shop if they're local and stuff, which is great to hear as well. And as I say, I could wax lyrical on this sim racing equipment, so we'll definitely have to get you in again whenever you're available. But thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a great insight on yourself, the sim racing equipment, and hopefully this will encourage people or give them the advice that they needed into perhaps upgrading to better equipment, or if they are new to sim racing, that they've got that confidence in buying some of the products that you do sell, of course.
Okay, awesome. And thanks again for the support, and good luck to all the races. Remember, it's not only about winning; it's about having fun as well. Remember that we got to be blown away every time you get behind your steering wheel, that they've taken a real world racetrack, they've taken the physics from the cars, they've digitized them, and we're bringing it back to life in your living room or in your room, wherever you are. That is just simply fantastic. So while you're racing, do remember to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, 100%. That is the key fact there for sure, JP. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for supporting us throughout this season in SMA, and look forward to speaking to you again.
Looks good. Yeah, awesome. Looking forward to that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, JP.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Hugh. I mean, that went on probably a little bit longer than I expected. I mean, that absolutely flew by. But before we close out the stream, I think it's very important to see what is coming up in round 8 of the SMA GT500 Championship. So let's move on to that, and I am on the completely wrong scene there. So there we go. Next race, round 8, is Trial Mountain. It is certainly one of my favourite circuits on Gran Turismo 7. Always provides amazing racing. I have to say, I've never actually driven a Group 2 car around Trial Mountain. A lot of the daily races tend to be in the Group 3 and Group 4 counterparts. But what are your thoughts on Trial Mountain yourself, Hugh?
Yeah, it's a great track. They made that end of the track a kind of tighter chicane now to go through, but it's certainly it's got lots of it's great spectacular scenery, but also lots of dust, and you've got to get the lines right. You've got to get the speed out onto the straights. It's absolutely vital. But it's quick, it's a lot of fun, and I think the drivers will like it. And when these Group 2 cars give plenty of downforce and grip, I think it's going to be a very exciting race. I think it'll be very close and maybe mix things up as we saw a bit tonight as well. Looking forward to Trial Mountain for sure. It will always bring out a great result.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, can't wait for this one. And make sure you do pay close attention to the SMA Discord for all the race details. And then, of course, tune in to the broadcast next week for race 8 in the GT500 Championship on the Sim Motorsport Association YouTube channel, of course, Monday the 31st of March, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time, to see how this one plays out. And also, of course, make sure you follow our socials to keep up to date on everything in SMA, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Discord, of course, and of course our live platform YouTube. Make sure you do hit that like button. Make sure if you're new to the channel, make sure you do hit that subscribe button as well, because that really helps out a small channel like us as we continue to grow and obviously help out on the YouTube algorithm as well. We are fastly approaching 150 members on Discord, and also I think we are chasing down 150 subscribers as well, but I will need to see how we've progressed tonight. And also as well, quick mention on the of MSA actually. So of course the upcoming MSA Cup Championship starting in May, there is a huge opportunity for those competing in SMA to register for your e-license at a very affordable price, and is to be involved in future FIA license events, including as mentioned the upcoming MSA Cup tournament, with many regional and international championships coming in the near future. I can't emphasize enough what an honor and privilege it will be for the drivers to compete at the very highest level and earn your colors, providing that full recognition representing your country. So make sure you don't pass up this opportunity. The registration for this pro license is coming soon, so certainly look out for that one. And then of course we still got the Quali Kings Championship. I would imagine most people that have been watching the stream today are competing in this championship, and it's basically SMA's version of GT7 daily race time trials, where basically the whole of the community can compete amongst one another, and also a great way to interact, get tips from some of the top drivers as well. I kind of alluded on it last week, Hugh, where I thought that I could compete with the very best, and then I saw their times. I was like, okay, yeah, I've been put back in my place. So yeah, definitely go and check out the SMA Discord, get yourselves involved, and it'll be nice to see you where you rank up in the tiers and in your times for sure. But yeah, Hugh, I mean, it's been an absolutely fantastic stream today. It was a very, very exciting race, as we always come to expect in SMA. I was going to ask you actually, who is your driver of the day, or who is the driver that really impressed you the most?
I think Wolfie's performance today was really impressive, getting the most out of those soft tyres and getting up to second place, especially from where he started. That was a really good race. But again, you've got to look at Levitius kind of marching away into the lead with his strategy, and he's able to look after his tyres so well. But yeah, Wolfie for me was my driver of the day for really managing to get onto the podium and doing a great job there, and making it very exciting for us in another great race for the championship. And the whole thing is hotting up for sure. I don't think Levitius has it all his own way. I know he said there'd be a few tracks that he might struggle with a Nissan, but today we've seen a different podium, which is good for the title championship. So hopefully we'll see more of that in the races to come.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one as well. I mean, it'll be quite easy for me to give it to Levitius, but he does this on a weekly basis, and it was really nice to see a couple of the VSR drivers getting on podium. Certainly Wolfie, fantastic performance from him, his best of the season, but also equally with Fish as well, who again, good to see him as well. And remember, he has been kind of yo-yoing through tier 1, tier 2, back up to tier 1. So the fact that he was able to sort of grab himself a podium was absolutely fantastic for him. So I got to say, between the two of them, Wolfie and Fish, I think probably my drivers of the day. So and just looking at the comments as well, Simulator Cave saying we will look at trading in kidneys as well, so that is something, right?
That means there's a future for all of us, eh?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I might have to look into that one. And yes, and the SMA saying we've actually got 170 on Discord, so okay, I haven't been keeping up with it, so that is great to hear. But we're always looking to expand in our community on Discord, so definitely get yourselves involved on our Discord, which is Simulator. It is, what is it called? It is called a Sim Motorsport Association, isn't it? I'm losing my mind right now. And yeah, Kennels, I think he's definitely up for that as well. He's going to ask his wife if he can get one of her kidneys. So yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, he won't use his own, ask his wife. You know.
So Hugh, probably lastly then, I absolutely love your channel. I always try to tune in when I can. Have you got any plans for the next week coming?
I do indeed. It's my big 50th birthday this week on Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a birthday stream on Thursday, hopefully to get a good 2 or 3 hours on Thursday morning. So it'd be lovely to have you join us, and the people watching as well, all the SMA guys, you'd be welcome to join us on Thursday morning. It'll probably be from about 10 o'clock UK time, which will be 12 o'clock, I think, in South Africa. But yes, so hoping to do a decent GT7 stream. It should be a lot of fun, and yeah, big 50th birthday so that should be fun.
I have to say, Hugh, you don't look a day over 49 for me. So, yeah. But no, happy birthday to you, though, Hugh. And I hope you have an amazing 50th birthday. That's for sure, and I'll definitely pop in. Kennels has also said he's going to pop in as well. So yeah, do make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've made it easy for you. His name right in the presented screen there for you to go and subscribe. And as well as me, I'm on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, I am looking to make a comeback. I've been very busy lately, but I'm looking to sort of get my channel back up and running and back into some serious racing, because it's been a long time. So any support would be much appreciated coming my way as well. But I think it's been quite a long stream today, Hugh, but it's been a real pleasure, and thank you so much for joining me as always, Hugh. And it's like I say, final thoughts, Hugh, on today.
It's been a great race. We're seeing the championship evolve. And, it's great to see other drivers getting a go, getting on the podium. Lots of good overtakes, very clean driving. A real professionalism in the sport, which is great to see. And we're getting these great tracks, great combinations. I think these 2016 cars are definitely much nicer to drive. You can see the drivers getting more out of them. It's just super competitive. There's not, big gaps between first and last. It's a great championship to commentate on. It's a pleasure to do it alongside you, Sean. And I'm sure it's a great pleasure for all our viewers to be watching and to see such a great championship. And we're getting closer and closer to see who the winners are going to be. But it's great that it's competitive and they're standing out with their abilities to drive really well and give us a very entertaining race week in, week out. So yes, absolute 5 stars from me, Sean. It's great fun to be able to commentate on such a good championship.
Yeah, 100% agree as well. And that's my favourite location as well. So I'm really excited to see the likes of Kennels, the likes of Levitius, Wolfie and Fish as well as all the other drivers as well. And I forgot to make a quick mention as well that Papaya Racer wasn't racing today. I mean, there was so much action today, I even forgot that he wasn't even racing today. So I'm hoping that he'll be back amongst the usual lot next week, which you can catch us, of course, at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time on Monday the 31st of March. But it was Levitius again who reigned supreme in the first race of this 2016 spec second phase of the competition. Will it be more dominance from him? Can anyone stop him? Can anyone catch him at the top of the championship? Well, you know what to do. Go and tune in to next week's broadcast. But until then, it's a good night from Hugh.
And a good night from Sean.
Yes, it's a good night from me. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.